Hey guys, so we're back here. Just doing like a part two video on this 411 PCM swap on an LT1. Getting a lot of questions, and I just want to kind of answer them there, just because everybody's bugging me, and just trying to make things clearer for most people here. So um, this is a 96, 97 car. So in this situation, super easy. Okay, so we have the crank signal on the bottom there, timing cover on the timing cover, which is what we need to get it running. Um, so for me to do this, easy peasy. Any guys 96, 97 cars, straightforward. So differences between the LT1 and a Vortec 350 is the Vortec 350 has the distributor in the back that has a crank or the cam signal, sorry, and it shares the same firing order, it shares the same coil, it shares the same module. All that stuff is the same, and that's why this stuff works. So for 96, 97 cars, super easy. For cars that are 93, 94, 95, a little bit harder. You'll have to change some things to get yourself up to what this is here. So these parts can be bought in the US, Canada, wherever. People are getting rid of the parts, so they can't get rid of them. For $100, you can buy yourself a timing cover that has the crank signal, that has the reluctor wheel, and the crank hub spacing, because it's different from the cars that don't have the crank signal. So you need those parts. Those parts can be found for $100, on average. Don't quote me, but roughly about that price. And that'll get you basically up to essentially a 96, 97 car. So wiring harness wise, stock harness. Nothing else is needed there. If you are the earlier car, you will need to wire in the crank signal. So you can scavenge another car from the junkyard, like an Impala, a truck, whatever the case may be there, and you have to wire that to the PCM. That's the only other wire sensor that's different from the motors. Okay, so that's that there. So, and also as well, if you are an earlier car, sensor-wise, your knock sensors are different. So those need to be changed out there. So you have one. They're super cheap, kind of a pain in the ass to change, but they're needed, right? So that's that there. Excuse me, guys, I'm freezing my balls off. It's Canada, it's cold, and I'm shivering. So excuse that there. So yeah, back to that there. So you need the knock sensor. So earlier cars, timing cover, reluctor wheel, crank hub, knock sensor, and then obviously, again, you're going to run a wire from the crank signal to the PCM. So aside from that there, again, you need the PCM from an 0411, S10s, trucks, vans, whatever. You can find them there pretty cheap. 50 to $100 get you a PCM. And if you're there, you can even get the connectors too. So the connectors you need because they're the LS based. And what you're going to do is you're just going to repin the harness from A to B. Super easy. Like, I hate wiring. I'm not exactly the greatest with wiring, but if I can do it, fuck, anybody can do it. So don't get yourself, your hopes up saying I can't do it. It is super easy. So there's schematics for the LT1s, there's schematics for the LS trucks, vans, whatever. It's all there for you guys on the internet. It's super easy to get to. Just write down what you're doing, what you're deleting, but it's super easy. So if you go to Horsepower Tube's channel, he's documented basically what to delete, what to keep, what to change, and that'll get you up and running. So just keep that in mind. So if you're mechanically inclined and you have a car that's a 93, 94, 95, some work involved, like I said, but if you're mechanically inclined for $100 to change that timing cover stuff there, do a little bit of wiring, your car's going to run. And yeah, I mean, like I said, for say $200 for the guys that have to do it, perfect. I'm not going to knock Torque Head. I'm not going to knock EFI 24X. I've personally had an EFI 24X system on one of my previous cars. System worked great. I bought it secondhand, didn't buy it brand new. So again, like I said, I work on my stuff. I'm not rich like everybody, but I bought it used on my previous car there. It worked out fantastic. Very little problems there. So, and I want to reiterate there. So going back and forth between what this is versus Torque Head EFI 24X. So, pricing is very drastic change, right? So you're going to go from, you know, spend a couple $100 here versus, you know, upwards of $1,000 to $1,500, $1,600 US, you know, for a complete kit, brand new. Again, you can buy stuff, you know, secondhand. You can buy your coils, you know, used, save some money there. Definitely some pros and cons. I guess the biggest pros and cons between the both different systems there is the fact that you're not coil unplugged. So that is the biggest, you know, back and forth thing. So, you know, coil unplug, if you have a bad coil, your car is still going to run. It's still going to get you home. If you have a bad distributor, different story, right? And that's kind of a common thing with LT1s, why people get rid of them, why people rag on them. You know, it's a common problem. So, as long as you have a good cap and rotor that's clean, no oil in it, no, you know, no coolant, none of that bullshit there, this thing's gonna run, and it's gonna run great. So you're gonna miss out on coil unplug, you know, but you know, it's a hit or miss thing. Like I said, if you have the money to play, by all means, you can definitely go torque header or EFI 24X. But like I said, for me, you know, I'm a car guy. You know, I work on stuff, and you know, money's tight. Got kids, all that stuff there, and you know, this you know, for me was no brainer. Like, why wouldn't I try this? So, like, I didn't think too much of it when I first did it there. I'm like, is this actually gonna work? You know, I see the videos, but does it actually work? And yeah, like I said, I fired up my last video there. We got it running, and like I said, I've driven it all summer, and everything's been hunky-dory. It's been great. So yeah, I just want to clear these things up with you guys there. Hopefully, you know, this video makes a little more sense of what's going on here, what's required, and whatnot. And yeah, so I guess you're all sick and tired of here listening to me talking and going on here and freezing my butt off. So this is a car. I guess we'll fire it up for shits and giggles. Why not, right? Haven't started it up for a little while. Might be a little cold. All right, so she's got a cam and she's cold. So going back to my last video there, we had the skip shift light on from before. I've deleted that. I'm not sure exactly what the problem was. But what the issue was, I guess I pulled the wiring out of the PCM. I put it back in. It wasn't working. It was working. And then basically I plugged it back in. And so far that's gone. So that's perfect. The crank sensor issue there with the relearn. So we were pretty sure we figured out what the problem is. Because I've already talked to another guy that's already done this swap as well, and he's had no issues with the relearn. So it's probably something on my end here. And I've talked to my tuner, and I just haven't got back to him all summer long. I've just been enjoying the car. It runs, it drives, no problems. But the issue is, like this is the relearn. And getting back to my tuner there, we pretty sure there's still some parts of the tune from the truck tune, which is still parts auto, and that's why it's not allowing us to do what we have to do. So we're going to go back at it here once it's a little bit warmer. Obviously, I'm still freezing my butt off right now talking to you guys, but we're going to get that figured out. Since I already know it works, like I said, horsepower tube guy, he did it. No crank signal problems, no relearn problems. He's done it, performed it, perfect. This other guy, Derek, I found him on Facebook there. He's done it, and so far he's figured it out, no problem. So it's got to be on my end. And like I said, we're gonna get that figured out, and that'll be the end of that. Like I said, the car runs, drives. Why not fire it up again? It's cold. First crack. What else can you beat, right? Anyhow, that's that. Hopefully this is a little bit more clear of a video versus kind of before was kind of going back and forth. but this outlines all the different things between all the different years to get everybody up and running. What it's involved, right? So this is it for this video. If you do like this one, comment, like, subscribe. It definitely helps everybody out there, and I'll be definitely making some more videos come the summertime, and you know, trying to help everybody out, right? So I'll get back to inside wall. As you can tell, it's a little fucking rich in here, a little rich, but she smells good. So anyhow, guys, back at it. Get out there and wrench.